Happy Friday. Today is Friday. I got it right this week. And thank you for tuning in to the Sci-Fi Center, the most aptly named YouTube show in the world. I would figure because we are live and we are coming to you from the Sci-Fi Center. Thanks for tuning in, and let's get started. Some of the main topics we're going to be going over are, I just saw Morbius last night, so we're going to be going over that review. It is, believe it or not, WrestleMania weekend. Don't know how I feel about that. Definitely not the way I used to feel about it when I was a kid growing up. When Brian gets in, we're going to go over match by match and see just if we can find anything in there that's going to be memorable. Picard, newest episode is out. A little bit mixed emotions about that too. Don't quite know what the story's going. That's another thing. I'm hoping Brian will come in here and we'll be able to bounce off of each other. Moon Knight premiered a couple of days ago, and I'll give my somewhat spoiler free review on that one too. So let's see who's in the chat. Oh, hope you guys like the intro. I'm toying around each week that I don't destroy or blow up the show. I'll add something new, once I figure out how, and get more comfortable with StreamYard. I'll have an intro, now I'll have an outro, and then for the Sci-Fi Center Presents show that we're going to be taping tomorrow, I'll have a different intro for that. So as I progress, I'll get better. Toddlers got to learn how to walk or crawl before they can walk. So let's see who's in the chat. Hey, what's going on, Silent Scotty? Silent Scotty is going to be along with me for the next Sci-Fi Center Presents. The last one we did was with Dawson. Dawson will be there for tomorrow as well. We are going to be going in deep with Watchmen, not just a comic book, but its overall influence. We're going to be going over Zack Snyder's 2008 movie, and we're also going to be going over the show, the HBO show that aired back in 2019. They were both great. They were both great in their different ways, but once again, here's another book in The Watchmen that I grew up with. I actually purchased off of the shelf, and we will be talking to two people who probably weren't even alive when that book came out. So Silent Scotty's going to be there with me. We will tape that tomorrow night, and we will air it at 11 a.m. my time, which is Pacific time, 2 p.m. East Coast time, and then Central. You guys figure that one out. Let's see. All right. Well, that defense. Well, Fridays and Saturdays are my days off. So also Sunday this week, 3-day weekend. Let's see. You must be talking to somebody else. Let's go. Is Batman still in theater? I'd rather watch it again over Morbius. Batman's going to be in the theaters until the 19th. April 19th is when it hits HBO Max. In comparison to it and Morbius, and like I said, I'll do my review here in a couple of minutes. Morbius is good. Batman was great. I think that haven't seen the movie now, some of the criticisms that the critics level towards Morbius, best word I can come up with is stupid. Some of them are silly. I understand where some of the issues that they may have had with the movie goes, but if you read the wording of some of these guys and their critiques, they went a little bit overboard. Morbius isn't a perfect movie, but it's nowhere near what has been portrayed by some of the people I've heard have seen it. Some of them haven't even seen it and were ready to bury it. It has its flaws, but I had fun with it. There's some things that could have improved. There's some things that could have been done better with Morbius that could have made it a better movie. But as it was, when I left the theater, I didn't feel like I was ripped off. I didn't feel like I was cheated. And like I said, I have some friends that are critics, and I don't hate critics. But in regards to my movie-going experience and my decision-making, I'm having less and less use for critics on a second-by-second, day-by-day basis. There's just been too many movies where critics have led me astray. Rotten Tomatoes, and I'll go ahead and bring Rotten Tomatoes up here for a second, because here's something that really kind of drives home the fact that in some cases it's best to go out and see the movie for yourself. And here's going to be one of the cases right here. All right, so there you go. Critics gave it 15. This is as of 3 o'clock this afternoon, so it could have gone up and down. I highly doubt that it's gone up exponentially between these two numbers here. But let's see, get rid of this. All right, 15% critic score, 65% audience score. That's a huge gap. That's a huge gap for people who basically exist on the same planet. So 65% means the majority of the people, however slim it is, enjoyed the movie to some point. But when you read the ratings that went along with the 15%, you thought this was like the worst movie since they started making motion pictures. And it definitely is not the worst comic book movie ever made. I heard one of the reviews saying that was one of the worst comic book movies ever made. These are the comments I mean that are just outright silly. I don't know what is behind the thinking when it comes to critiquing a film to the point where it almost seems like there's an agenda. And it's not just with Morbius. Over the past 7 or 8 years, it seems like it's cool. It's, you're in with the, the cool kids to basically flatten the movie before it has a chance to grow any legs. And if I had to listen to critics, half the movies that I've enjoyed over the last decade, I would have never seen. I would have ended up seeing them on either a streaming service or, renting them or, some other lesser form away instead of actually going out to see the movie. Now, I'm not putting Morbius up there with, some of the movies that critics have destroyed. But like I said, it was good enough. My biggest critiques about the movie is after having seen the Batman, and it's one of its problems with me is it was too long. This is a movie that actually has the exact opposite problem. It's actually too short, and you can see at points during the movie that they're rushed. That there's probably some movie that got left on the cutting room floor that probably could have made for a better movie. There are some things that don't make a little bit sense, but no less than any other Marvel movie or comic book movie that's come out. Every single comic movie I've had has had you have to suspend the belief in order to go along with the flow of their storyline. There are some characters, a law enforcement element, and I'll just leave it at that. Like I said this in my review with Poindexter Lounge with Enosh. You can find that on Poindexter Lounge. Our right out of the theater review. The law enforcement element in this movie makes law enforcement look dumb. Those characters annoyed me, and you guys will see it if you haven't had a chance to see the movie. As we get Brian and maybe RJ in later on in the stream, we might go for some spoilers. But right now, I thought it was a pretty solid movie. I love the special effects on it. I like the effects that they used to move him around. I like the effects that they used for him to when he illustrated how he was using his sonar. Matt Smith, along with Jared Leto, carries this movie as they should. They're the two stars. The Matt Smith should have been on the trailers a lot more. I think that might have changed the trajectory of some people's opinion about it. But Matt Smith is great in this movie. Jared Leto, once again, has yet to let me down in a movie, and this just continues that trend. Is it a great movie? No, I wouldn't go that far. But it's right around right around where I guess the audience is consistent. If we were talking 5 stars, I would have given a 3.5, high 3.5. But if we're talking 1 out of 10, I would have given a solid 7, which lines up right with the audience score that's here, which is about 60 to 70% of the people who saw it. So, like I said, I think the biggest lesson out of the last 10 years is to take other people's opinion, and that includes my own, about movies with a grain of salt. If you and I love the same movies and we have the same opinions about movies, and you listen to me and I tell you, hey, I know what you like, I've seen what you like, we've expressed with each other what we like, and that lines up, then listen to my opinion. But it's your money. Critics get to go to see these movies for free. I'm one of the guys who gets to go to these movies for free. You're shelling out, 20, 30, 40, if you're taking a family, sometimes hundreds of dollars. And just like with this movie, critics have broad scape of the movies that they've seen. Us geeks, mine's narrowed. Man, I don't need everything to be Scorsese. I just need it to be fun. And this movie was fun. I enjoyed it. So I'm going to bring in Brian, Master of None, because we got a ton of Trek and wrestling stuff that we're going to get over here. So, hey, Brian, what's going on?
Not much, man. How's it going?
I'm not good enough for his face. I get the avatar.
Just give me a second. Sorry.
I was just messing with you.
I'm working on it. Oh, crap. Boom mic fell. All right. That's going to be awesome.
At least you have a boom mic. That's next on. Dude, there's so much equipment that I'm going to get eventually when I get set up. Like I said, I'm learning more and more what I need with each episode. I had a nice little intro I didn't screw up. Did you see that?
Oh, nice. No, I was over at Movie Madness Entertainment making sure Max was awake for his stream. He wasn't.
I that's an even money bet.
Sorry, so that's why I was late. I do apologize.
That's right. Did you get a chance to see Morbius yet?
No, I'm probably not. I'm gonna wait.
Oh, wait till it.
I haven't even watched Carnage yet.
Oh, did you see the Batman?
2? No, haven't seen that one yet either.
Oh man.
No, I've been in moving mode this whole month.
Oh, that's right.
So
yeah, you're getting that.
I couldn't justify, spending that kind of money when we gotta, pay deposits and stuff. So I opted out, and it'll be on by the time I get around to actually having the money to go see it. It'll be on HBO Max. So
yeah, it's on HBO Max. So like I said, I gave my review. I gave my review with Enosh this morning. I mean, I was actually on that stream last night, but he wanted we pre-recorded because I had been the first in the group to see it. So
yeah,
like I said, I gave my review. I enjoyed it. Not a perfect movie by any means, but like I said, that's most of the movies I'm going to go see. Period.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what you're getting out of these. I mean, it's a crapshoot. You get some good stuff, you can get some bad stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it could have been a much, much better movie, but it's not a bad movie. And like I said, I see them laying groundwork, and I see where some critics had a legitimate, if you do not know the genre, about how some of the things are pieced together. It's made in a way that assumes that you know everything that's going on and that you know where they're going. And I thought that it was on the movie makers to do a better job of leading you down that rabbit hole instead of leaving gaps. Some of the things, but for a comic book moviegoer, I'm sorry if you didn't see where they were going.
What's up, Anthony?
Hey, what's up, Anthony? You really need to remember how big these stories can be. Even with Sony's little small universe, there's more to come. The end credit scenes, and without spoiling them, were a big contention for either the critics or some of the people I've talked to that are non-critics.
I watched it. It was lame.
Lame on its own, yeah. Within the context of what they were doing, once I said it's on them, not by not giving the full context. I don't know if they can yet, but those end credit scenes are leading to something much larger than just on their own. They don't make any sense, but if you have gone to enough comic book movies, you know that that's not the end all be all, and that's what I really don't understand about the criticism is you have to know that unless this is your first comic book movie. Then I understand. But if this is not your first comic book movie, you have to understand that they're and based on what they've given you, without spoiling it, based on what we know, they don't make sense. But we're the consumer. We're not the storyteller. We don't know everything. So I'm willing to give that. Like I said, I wish they would have led the customer down a much more clearer rabbit hole so that they were not having to piece together too much. But I've seen enough to be able to piece together enough. I'm anticipating it, and I'm intrigued. There were some questions about a certain particular character, how he was, where, and what. Like I said, yes, no, it's Fox. I wish I could turn my phone on, but I got customer phone calls coming through, so I may disappear from time to time. But
no worries.
I'm going to go ahead and give people. How do I do this with spoilers? I'm going to give. There's one particular part that you probably already have all seen the spoilers, but I'm gonna give you guys 20 seconds here to 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
Spoiler alert.
All right, so we're going to spoil the Queens. The Vulture's obviously in the movie. He comes through from what it looks like a result of Doctor Strange's spell from No Way Home.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, based on just face value, people are like, well, how does that happen? How did he get the Vulture costume? Because that's what leads to the second end credit scene. He shows up and he meets Michael Morbius out in the middle of the desert. Now, there's totally out of context. I don't know what has happened up to this point, and they don't show you. And then another question, and it was a legit question, how does he get the Vulture armor if he's not in the universe where it was created? Because he doesn't have that technology. reverse engineering. That costume, he still built the costume. He
That's
may not
true.
have access to the alien Chitauri technology.
But he wasn't the man, the brain though.
He wasn't the brain. What's that?
The other dude was. So if the other dude came through with him, then yeah, I can see them making the suit on the other universe. But if he didn't come through with him, then I just don't see that character making a suit.
I see Toombs, if he had the suit in his possession, there's one of two ways, actually several ways he could have done that. He could reverse engineer it because he wasn't a fool. He just had the job of one. If he came from his universe, he may have access to enough parallels in the universe that he's in to be able to reverse engineer that suit.
Yeah.
Or build one all to his own because he knew what his specs were. That suit's probably going to be drastically different than the one we saw in Homecoming. Also, there might be variants. It's Michael Keaton, but this spell, we're assuming that we know everything that this spell did. We don't. We're still trying to figure that out. We just assume that, it was a backwards and forward spell. This thing it's called the multiverse of madness, possibly for a reason. This universe that we were talking about may not be the only thing that spell drew from. And that character may not be the same exact one. We may see a Spider-Man that is played by one of the individuals that we know, but it may not be the one that we've seen because it may have been brought from another universe that we just because we didn't see the universes that strange as a spell effect. It doesn't mean that other people aren't being mixed up and other people aren't being, dropped in other universes that they don't belong with to. So there's a lot there, but the fact that the possibility of that was there, I gave him a little bit of leeway on the trailer. I think we put too much into these post-credit scenes, and we want that to finish telling the story that the movie didn't. And it's just bait.
It's a teaser for the next movie, really. Come on.
That's all it really is.
That's all it should be, honestly. Yeah. I don't want to know. I don't want to have that. I'd rather have like an open-ended question that's a teaser for the next movie. Thank you.
Yeah, next. I mean, I had enough. Let's see. Jared Harris was really good. Yeah. He was underutilized. He was great. He plays the doctor that mentors both Matt Smith's character and Jared Leto's character. I love Jared Leto in this. Jared Leto was very convincing in this. It's not his most exotic role, but he's believable in this. He's believable as the Doctor. He's believable as Morbius. I thought he needed more time, though. I thought both him and Matt Smith, that's one of my knocks against this movie, why I couldn't give it any higher than I gave it, is the fact that the good things about it, they're either not enough of or they're rushed. But they are there enough to drive the movie. An hour 45 minutes is not enough time for this movie.
Yeah. Well, my only issue is like I just wasn't enthusiastic about this movie. Just kind of how I am with any of these Sony Spider-Verse movies, except for Into the Spider-Verse. That movie's kick-ass. But
it's the best Spider-Man movie, period.
But like the Morbius, friggin' Venom, Carnage. Like, yeah, I watched Venom, but I didn't watch it in theater. I'll probably watch Carnage whenever it comes out on streaming. But like, yeah, I mean, I look at this like Star Wars Legends. It's a waste of time for me. It doesn't do anything to further the MCU story. But now if they can actually make it like, you know what I mean? It's Marvel, but it's not.
Yeah.
It might as well be on the CW. You know what I mean?
Here's where I go on the different side of that is because I think we're in an era where everything's got to be cluttered in the MCU, and the MCU right now for me is just too cluttered, and it's cluttered at the expense of some really good characters that never get their due. Spider-Man, for me, my opinion, was the primary example of that. You saw he could be in No Way Home, but it took 6 years to get to that character because we weren't telling a Spider-Man story per se. We were telling an Avengers story. We were telling let's interlink everybody with all 4 million Marvel character story. Whereas Sony has the advantage of, if they were to do it right, would be a solitary universe built around a Spider-Man. Not everything needs to be in the MCU. See, what I've liked in the MCU now is like You have a nice house and it's furnished, you got everything in it, but you keep going to IKEA, you keep going to Walmart and picking up stuff. You go to Walmart.
After a while, you turn into a hoarder.
Yeah, you see that rug hanging at Walmart, and yeah, that rug looks great on that wall hanging at Walmart or IKEA. It looks great. But when you bring it home to your house and throw it down with the other 9 rugs you have, and when in the wall paint, that doesn't matter. It looks like shit. And that's what the MCU to me is. Everybody wants everything to get jammed into the MCU, and not everything fits there. Not everything fits that story narrative. Some characters were designed to be single solitary characters and are now getting a quarter of the time that they need to shine because everybody wants to shoehorn them. Every time you mention a Marvel character, they squeeze their brain and to see how they can shove them in to that universe. And not every character needs to be there, fortunately. So that's my problem, and it's always been my problem with Spider-Man, and it's one of my nightmares when it comes to Miles Morales. Because Miles Morales, the strength of Miles Morales, and the reason why he does so well is because he is in a small neighborhood of characters, and they're mainly Spider-Man characters, and he really doesn't really rely on anything outside of that Spider-Man universe to be Miles Morales. So I would hate to see that character, especially at this point in his development, be thrown into a salad that has just way too many vegetables in it right now.
Oh, wait till we get the X-Men and the Fantastic Four.
You see, the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, you're talking about team concepts that were designed to interact with big, broad stories. Spider-Man, it wasn't until Secret Wars that Spider-Man was used in a major crossover.
Like he wasn't an Avenger for a long time, right?
Yeah, he was never an Avenger until 2005, 2006. He would do guest appearances in Fantastic Four. But Spider-Man didn't even go into space until the character had been around until like 7 years. It was like a Marvel team-up issue.
Oh, wow.
They designed him to be that way. He was a character that when your book was failing, here comes Spider-Man. We'll splash Spider-Man on the cover and we'll up your sales. He was a guest character, but
he was the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah, like he was what
he dealt with local issues. It wasn't like he was dealing with
correct.
He never left Metropolis. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he'd always deal in New York.
Yeah,
but it's kind of like Superman, though. His stories are in Metropolis. He doesn't go to Gotham unless he's reporting on crime in Gotham.
Yeah, but there's just so many ways, and I felt this as it went on, especially with Endgame and Infinity War. All the characters that they had developed were becoming part of this blinding puzzle, and like I said,
this big tapestry.
Yeah, and not everybody needs to be there. So
not every thread fits, right?
Correct. My hopes are with the Sony stuff is that it's adjacent to what they're doing, but not necessarily part of it. Because, like I said, I don't need every Spider-Man story to be him as a sidekick to whoever's there. I mean, Tony's dead right now, but like my biggest example of this was Spider-Man: Far From Home. The title character gets upstaged by the dead guy's high-tech glasses. That's what Spider-Man: No Way Home with me. And so like I said, I hope that they're developing their own thing. But like I said, they can do a little bit better than this. Somebody asked me today, does the reviews and all this hurt their future for Craven and all the other? No, because I think once it's all laid out, it all makes a lot more sense. And these movies were happening anyway. I think they have a general idea of what they want to do. I just think they need to do a little bit better job of letting us in on it. Other than that, I thought it was a pretty good movie. So there you go. But once again, Rotten Tomatoes, these people are all from the same species of people, all living on the same planet. And somehow we have 15% versus 65%. So there's a gap there that is that's huge. That's huge. That's a 50 point. Come on, dude. So
I think the tastemakers are starting to sour on these movies.
Yeah.
I like the critical end of things. Like this isn't the first time. What did Carnage get?
I'd have to look that one up.
I'll look it up real quick.
I definitely So I'm going to go ahead and bring up our next topic here.
No problem.
While you're doing that. Oh, yeah, Cardinals. Oh, yeah, what is Cardinals? I probably should have had that up. I actually like this movie. Listen, I know I'm getting a lot of heat for this. I actually liked Morbius more than I liked the first Venom movie. I thought the first Venom movie, another flawed movie, but I had fun. I liked Venom. The second one, I didn't like the way it was butchered just to get to an end credit scene. And that's what I felt that Let There Be Carnage was. They hacked the hell out of that movie just so they could get to that end credit scene. So
there is a bit of a disparity there.
What do you got there?
58 for critic score, and then audience score was 84.
That's still huge.
Yeah, that's a big disparity.
It's better than 50%, but it's still 30. I'm like, what do we? And I'm sitting in the theater sometimes with these same critics, but like I said, I how I can explain it is this. So if I get a critic that comes in and tells me, let's go see Lady Bird or Call Me by Your Name, and I'm going to look at him like I would rather eat my own
excuse me, sorry,
thumbs than go to either of those movies. But a critic is going to go to that movie on one day, and then he's going to go see a comic book movie on the next. So he's looking for a broad, consistent consensus that his standard for movies. I have no use for romantic comedies. I have no use for most comedies, and I have zero use for human interest. So automatically, I'm coming into those movies with a jaded eye. I'm going to tell you, here's my review. Don't go see it, and don't go trying to drag me to see it. But I sit next to the same critics. They'll be like, you know what? That movie was just mindless TNA and explosions. And I'm like, yeah, that's what they advertise. And
give me more.
So
God dang it.
His thumbs down becomes my thumbs up. So that's where I can kind of explain the disparity here. But it's like, wow, what my hope is for the general audience is to take all this with a grain of salt either way.
Yeah.
If you are compelled to go see this movie, go see this movie. Unless, like I said, you have a ride or die buddy and you do nothing but go to the movies with this guy. You guys pick the movies you're going to go to. You guys like the same movies or gal, and you trust that person with your movie going.
Yeah, your movie buddy.
But random critics, or just random talking heads like, hey, even me, I would just do a little bit of research. Look at the body of work some of these guys do. I mean, Jared Leto, I don't think he's been in a bad movie. There's a difference between people not liking his version of the Joker and him not doing an excellent acting job in portraying it. It's two different things. And the quality performance he gives in this is really good. Like I said, I wish there was more of him and Matt Smith, but you know what? Maybe when they release it on 4K or whatever, I'll see all the dropped up scenes. So, all right, yes, they did. They severely neutered, and they did that because that movie didn't mean anything to them once it was done. Only the end credits did. So let's see. All right, Sony doesn't have the incentive to access that Walt Disney brings to viewers. Don't have as much to lose with Sony going in bad review. Just saying. And here's the thing. Here's another thing, Scotty. This movie really can't fail. All right. Say it makes 30 to 40 million, which 30 million, 30 to 35 million, right? It only costs 75 million to make. So they're projecting it can make anywhere between 35 and 50 million. If it only costs 75 million to make, right? They already have back-end deals with Disney. It's already sold to them. And then you have the deal to, I think, Stars that it hits first and on demand. So you've already made your money back. So there you go. All right. So, Anthony Grisby with a $14 Australian $14.99 super chat. Hey, guys, based on seeing it, William, do you think it could bring Andrew Garfield into the Sinister Six universe? Maybe even Venom? Love you guys. I think definitely the former. I think definitely Venom. I think this is what a lot of this was all being led up to. Andrew Garfield, 50-50. I would love for it to be Garfield. I think he would fit better in this universe, and I think they would not have to share his narrative if they were bringing him in. With Tom Holland, there's a lot of strings attached to, like I said, an already cluttered universe. Andrew Garfield does not have those constraints. So you could bring Andrew Garfield in, or a variant of Andrew, however they want to do it. But my personal preference that it will be Andrew Garfield. But as far as the Venom thing goes, that definitely, to me, that's a no-brainer. I think that's what all of this is leading up to. I think everything that they're leading up to after this with Craven, Madam Web, I think all of these things are leading up to them coming together in their own type of movie like that. So definitely, Anthony. Thanks for the super chat, dude.
And back's doing good though. Thank you for asking.
Oh, Max.
Oh, my back's been doing good. Now I'm just.
Okay. Oh,
I keep going off camera because I got this. I've had a cough for like a week now. So,
dude, sinuses. The wind is blowing everything. They stuck the needles in my back to see what I was allergic
so
to.
dry. Oh my god, the desert.
I'm in the other desert. I'm in the lower desert of you, man. Trust me, I know. You're lucky because once those triple digits hit, you're kind of sheltered. Let's see who else is in here. Could only be Marcus Cruz could be up. You guys are talking to each other, so let me see what Marcus is saying. All right, it looks like F4 will achieve the 4. Okay, so cool. You guys are talking to each other. You're not talking to me. That's cool. So I'll just kind of like see what I can find here. All right, yeah, I agree. I mean, like I said, Batman was great. Morbius was just good, but I had fun. Hello, Mr. Wayne. Yeah, tomorrow night. Yeah, tomorrow night. Sign on. We'll be filming, and like I said, the Dark Knight one was good. I'm really going to go even further with the Watchmen because there's just so much there, and for a property that has been around far less than Batman, for that to have as much lineage and to have it already have a movie made about it and a TV show. Most shows don't get that. Most comic book IPs don't get that, especially one like the Watchmen that is not connected to a lot of the mainstream stuff for the most part. So let's see who else is here. Let's see. All right, Rational Skeptic, thank you for the $5 super chat. The Daily View will headline tease Black Cat and the Chameleon. Yeah, it looks like what's going to end up happening, and if this is my guess, based on nothing, is that after Multiverse of Madness, this Sonyverse is going to get consolidated into its own thing with bits and pieces that Sony wants them to be. So everything that they think has worked is going to be in this universe, and they'll find a way to retcon the things that they don't. I think this Multiverse of Madness is they're going to use this as a vehicle to consolidate and restart their universe, keeping what they want about it, adding variants of what they want, they liked about it, and moving on from there. So that's my guess based on the post-credit scenes and based on how these multiverse stories usually going. Biggest problem I have with this multiverse story versus anything else is in the comic books, when you do multiverse and you do these massive crossovers, you have hundreds of pages, you have months, and you have weeks, and you have 20 books sometimes a month to cover these things. In a comic book movie, even on the high long end, you have 2.5 hours to 3 hours. So you could run into the point, and that's where the Clutterverse comes to me, is because they try to hit so many buttons in 2 to 3 hours and maybe 3 or 4 movies a year. That may sound like a lot of time on screen, but you're telling a multiversal story that has a lot of roots and has a lot of questions to be answered once these things are brought forth. And I'm not quite sure that as good as they've been able to do, that this isn't going to be something that either wears people out or confuses them. Now, when DC is doing their thing, I don't think DC should be calling it the multiverse, even though they basically invented the term. It should be Elseworlds. The difference between what I think Marvel is doing and by using the multiverse as a plot device versus with DC Comics, it's been pretty much a way of life for almost 50 years. They've been dealing with alternate Earth 1s, Earth 2s as a way of life, as a part of the story for so long that the only time it becomes a topic is when some of those universes are getting destroyed. 0 Hour, Crisis, Infinite Crisis, Rebirth. So I'm skeptical on both ends, because if it's done right, it could be great. But if it's done wrong, it could wear people out a lot quicker. So let's see. So yeah, so that's what I thought of Morbius. And like I said, I will revisit this with you, Brian, when you are able to see it.
I'll watch it eventually.
Yeah, it'll probably be on demand soon. So next topic is this. All right, listen.
You missed me last week, so I couldn't complain.
I didn't have a big issue with Guinan.
I had a huge issue with the Guinan recast and her not knowing. Okay, I don't know. For me, the way I was looking at it was, and this is kind of convoluted, but like, okay, if the bus guy's there, that means that freaking Spock and Kirk from the timeline continuity that we know went back in time. That means that timeline is still active in one way, shape, or form. So, like, when they go back in time, she should still have recognized Picard. The recasting I can live with, but she should have recognized him.
Not necessarily. I wish you had been on here last week because I thought.
Well, I mean, I understand. They went back in time from an alternate timeline, but they went to the nexus point, the point where the timeline splits off. So going up to that time still has to be the normal time, right? Like if you've got a linear timeline and it splits off and up, and that's the future, and this is the timeline that we know, they still have to go back in time to meet that point.
But why would she recognize Picard though?
Because you went back into the San Francisco time zero.
But
Next
she's
generation.
not going to meet. But no, okay. See, yeah, you're dealing with a linear, semi-linear time concept, and that's not what they're using here. The one divergence is, and if you watch this next episode, is his ancestor.
Well, yeah,
Renee.
yeah.
That's
Renee
one divergence, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going with a complete linear timeline as far as her where she goes.
I'm just saying, if they wanted to make fans not get upset about it, they should have had her recognize him. That's all I'm going to say. Because that's why people were upset, because she didn't recognize him. And then you have all these Twitter physicists trying to talk about what's what, and I'm just like, no, dude. If the bus guy is there, and they made a point to make the bus guy there, that means that Kirk, Spock, and everybody went back in time.
Well, hold on, wait. The bus guy being there doesn't have anything to do with Spock and Kirk going back to time. I'm just
because he changed his attitude when he asked her.
Older.
Well, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, there's continuity there.
Well, no, but okay, so it's a 40. We're talking about the difference between a 40-year-old punk rock kid and an aging dude, probably in his 60s, who's probably lived a little bit by that time. He's not a punk kid at this point. So him being like that doesn't necessarily mean that, he's necessarily been. I mean, could be, but that's not necessarily a determining factor. We don't know necessarily whether that all happened or not. We don't know how much. And here's another thing. It's kind of getting on my nerves, but this is different. I need them to get to the point of what the hell Q is doing. I need to know. I need to know
a little bit more. Yeah.
I need this to move a little bit faster as far as what he's doing.
This is going to upset me if they take this a direction that I think they're going to do. Q has never been evil.
No, and that's why I don't think he's evil here.
I don't know, man.
Okay, you could have said, remember when you first see him, or the second time you see him in QU, right? QU, he takes the Enterprise to the Delta Quadrant and gets 18 crew members killed. Now, at the time, well, based on what we knew, that guy's an asshole. What a prick. You just flung this because you couldn't get accepted into the crew. But as time goes on, you realize that adventure into the Delta Quadrant, had it not been for their first encounter, the Borg were coming no matter what. The Borg were coming for that. It
just sped it up.
It sped it up, but it allowed them in the interim time, in the 3 years that it took from the Borg and QQ to get back to come to the Delta Quadrant finally, they were able to prepare somewhat. It wasn't much, but it was enough to save their lives and make them to be the flagship that was. So he introduced them to an element that they were probably got wiped out if it hadn't been for that encounter. So I'm thinking that there's a long, and even in All Good Things, I think Q is the evolution of what mankind will be at the end of time.
That's what a lot of people have speculated, and I agree.
Yeah, and his job is to ensure
guide humanity.
Exactly, and I think this is no different. I think that there's something Picard has to do. That's what I need him to get to. What does Picard have to do? What's the life unlived? I'm watching it. I'm getting all the riddles. I'm like, what is he talking about?
Well, he's probably talking about Renee Picard, like this future. Like she chickens out, I imagine. Because he was in her ear, like.
I mean, And here's another thing: is like, okay, now I figured that part out. What's he doing with Isa Baranis' character? And
I don't know. My whole thing is like shoehorn in another Soong. Okay, cool.
I agree.
Who doesn't like Brent Spiner? I guess
I love him, but I'm tired of this character.
Every single series he's going to be in now.
Now
he has an illegitimate son from last season. Like, no, dude.
And please don't put him in Strange New Worlds because I don't need that. That show's looking greater and greater.
Every single daughter that he's going to have is going to be Isa Baronis.
By the way, and I have no problem with seeing her on screen.
No, she's fantastic.
She's got to have a little bit more to do. There's got to be a little bit more for her to
finally interested in Agnes for like the first time in the whole damn show.
Oh yeah.
Her play back and forth with the queen. Okay, so this is my other thing, and this is if this is how it turns out, I'm going to be very pissed off. Okay, are you getting First Contact vibes here? And I know, aside from the obvious, but we got Borg Queen, time travel. It's chronoton energy that got us back in time via the Borg. They're trying to stop a space flight. You know what I mean? Things are kind of. Jonathan Frakes directed the last episode.
I'm getting. Let me adjust my camera here. I'm getting First Contact and Voyage Home.
Yeah. Well, for the time period, that and a little bit of past tense from D69.
I can see that.
Especially dealing with the year, and not only that, but they talked about sanctuary districts. They talked about the card system for like identification. They talked about in the paper Brenner Industries. That was the dude that saved Dax in San Francisco. And I think he has something to do with the Europa project.
Yeah, the only issue I have so far, like I said, it's a lot of riddles. The show is in riddles.
Yeah,
come together a little bit faster, especially when we don't have 26 episodes to hit this up. We got
what
12?
8? Yeah. There's not very many. Like I think there's 10 or something like that. It's not a big season. But I mean, it's like a 10-hour movie. I'd be all right.
Yeah,
I'd be all right.
Hey, Scotty, it's okay to be wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
It's all right, man.
I'm just kidding. Hey, dude, this time travel, I want to know what cues. This has to wrap up for me because we're not going to get John Delancey's hitting 70. We're not going to get like a bunch of more Q appearances. Yeah. I would love for this to be the explanation of what the hell he's all about. We've waited long enough.
Well, that and like find out what his powers. That's what I'm saying. If he turns out to be just evil bad guy instead of something deeper and thoughtful, I'm gonna be kind of mad at the show. Like I'm not gonna lie. You can't.
Yeah, and when he first sees her and he snaps his fingers and realizes his power is not working, what was he trying to do? See, I don't know that. Was he trying to make her,
Yeah, because make her not want to get on that flight.
Well, and I think that's a hook and loop. I think that is a dog and pony show. I think that he is going to doing these things to make Picard stop him because he knows Q is behind this.
Yeah,
but he knows that him being the doctor. Why would Q need to be the doctor? Why would it's almost like he's leading him to the places he needs to stop. And as far as the only thing I'm confused with the whole Watcher thing. So is that her? I mean, is that her in a different time? Loris? Because even by
Loris a Watcher in that time period too? Is she tasked to watch over Picard? But she interfered? I'm confused, man.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not a big fan of time travel when it comes to my science fiction. Sorry.
Yeah. The problem is they're staying back in time too long. That's the problem. The longer they stay in 2024, the more problems we're going to have. Because the last week's episode was a downer. Because it was just like, I don't need to be reminded of how bad the last 5-6 years have been. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I just felt they were pounding that, and it's like the one thing I enjoy about Star Trek is they never really did that.
Yeah, you just heard about
they
it.
They would talk about it, but they were more. They'd be less subtle about it. You know, it's not just beating you over the head. And there's elements of every episode in this show that have done that, and it's like, so I can understand now why the people who don't like this show, you have kind of a reason not to like this show, and
keep talking because I'm having a lighting issue real quick over. I'll be right back.
No worries. But like I said, it's just I don't know. It's kind of bothers me a little bit in the sense that, like, yes, I understand, but like people need to chill. Like, can we go back to hopeful television again, where it's not horrible? No, I love time travel, but the thing is like you have to do it in a 2-week span. Like it's got to be quick. So like some of the best Star Trek episodes, in my opinion, are the time travel episodes, but they're 2-parters. You know what I mean? Exactly. If time travel is used as a framework to tell a story rather than an excuse to get out of tight situations, I love it. Exactly. And far too often it just becomes like that, that little bit extra, the MacGuffin that you need to get out of the situation, the goober, as it were. Let's see here. Time travel is something I love. Why First Contact and Voyage Home are my favorites. I agree. I mean, but that's the thing. Okay. It has to be in small doses. It has, in my opinion, I don't want it to all be back in the past, because the problem is you will create many continuity errors, especially with what happens. But here's one of the things that I just kind of thought of. And okay, so why was the eugenics wars fought?
Why? I know, but I'm playing to an audience now.
Yeah, no. Like, honestly, I'll ask, why was the eugenics war fought? Because of genetic engineering and manipulation. What did we see in this episode?
We see genetic. You see it mainly by the same guy who keeps going back to it, or the same family that keeps going back to it. Yeah. And it's being out. It has been outlawed, and it's outlawed and unethical when he's doing it. So it actually gets worse because remember the eugenics wars and the eugenics being outlawed, and remember Julian. That was one of my favorite episodes of DS9 when they found out that he was, and the whole ramifications of that, because technically he should not have been allowed to, stay in Starfleet, but of course he's Julian, so they're going to let him in.
That episode was amazing. It had Rom falling in love, finally confessing his love to Lita, okay, at the end of that episode, and it had Robert Picardo, okay, Robert freaking Picardo.
I had a chance to meet him. He is one of these days we're gonna have to do a full-on Trek show. One of my favorite episodes, and I've expressed this before on this show, was when they had to, I forgot the title of the episode, but when they had to get him to come to grips with saving Harry and letting the ensign die, and he had PTSD, and Janeway kept taking away the memories so that he wouldn't destroy himself. And then 7 of 9 was like, how is he going to evolve if he can't deal with pain and death just like all of us? And I love that episode. That and Tuvix were my 2 favorite episodes of thing. Did you already highlight this? If they have a good explanation, I'll accept it, but I still believe that they should have tossed the bone for the fans and let her recognize Picard the dialogue. I do agree with that.
It would have taken a split second of dialogue. Oh, hey, how's it going, Picard? That's all it would have taken. That's why I was off put. It was like, dude, how does she not know him?
Yeah, it didn't destroy the episode for me, but I understand that. They could have gone that way, and I would have had no problems with. All right, see.
Oh, and yes, Leah Thompson being in this episode. She directed the last 2. Jonathan Frakes directed this one, but she was actually in this episode, which I thought
Hi, Aaron. Really cool. Where was she? I missed her.
Oh, she was in the board panel when Dr. Soong was trying to plead his case. She was the one in the middle.
Oh, that's right. I wasn't even looking. I was looking for. I watch these episodes and analyze it to make sure I'm not missing anything, because I'm really having a hard time sometimes with
Leah Thompson? No, just kidding.
Yeah. Well, okay, we're talking about a 60-some-odd-year-old Leah Thompson, not the one from Howard the Duck that I remember, or Back to the Future. Yeah, she hasn't really done a lot of acting in the last 20, 30 years, but
no, she hasn't.
I really like I said, I am enjoying Picard overall, but once again, it's like almost with everything I see these days, it could be so much better. but I
True.
got to give them time to tell their story. So, all right. So that
I
goes
agree.
for the episode of Picard. I'm getting used to this transition with this change. As you can see, I'm getting faster without getting rid of myself.
I'm getting way better at it too. Like I
Yeah.
had more chance to host stuff, and then like Saturday, I actually sit back and like produce for Max. It's not too bad.
Yeah, and that's hey Stella, if you're watching this, I will get you in here to help me produce. I just didn't have enough time today to get you all the access and stuff, but definitely I need you if you're watching this or when you get a chance to watch this. All right, so this is something else that happened this week that I found myself enjoying. What did you think, or have you had a chance to watch it?
I liked it, but I want to see more.
Same here.
I mean, it's the opposite of Dune. I was confused, but I still want to see more. So like this was all right. I don't know much about this character, so I'm just gonna kind of with this show. I love Oscar Isaac. I agree, Scotty. He's amazing, but I'm just gonna let this show take me for a ride.
He's another one. He's another one along the Leto scale that has not let me down in what I've seen. Obviously, I love Dune. I think Dune won 6 Academy Awards, by the way. I mean, that got
he was the highlight in Dune. I'm not gonna lie. I liked him in Dune. He
Dune
wasn't one of the whisper talkers. You know, he was good.
Yeah, no, that drove me crazy. But that's the lore. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not going to go into the whole kerfuffle that happened with the Academy Awards with the other thing, but only in the fact that Dune won 6 Academy Awards, man.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the second year in a row, or second time that one of Denis Villeneuve's movies that he didn't get nominated for Best Director, but the movie won Academy Awards for visual effects and cinematography. He did it with Blade Runner when Roger Deakins won for Blade Runner, and Blade Runner won for Best Visual Effects. So that was good. That was one of the pleasant surprises. I knew it was going to win certain ones, but I really was happy to see that see that happen for Dune. And like I said, a lot of times when these movies don't make buku bucks, it's that prestige that those Oscars bring. Those Oscars bring prestige, whether you watch the show or not, no matter what happens on the show or not. The Academy Awards, when you can resell your Blu-ray or your DVD, or when you do something else, or you do sequels or whatever, and you can put Academy Award winner at the top of it for the rest of the lifetime of that film and the people who are in it, that's a big thing. Blade Runner was a box office bomb, but trust me, Warner Brothers was happy enough to get those 2 Academy Awards. That's something that the previous Blade Runner did not achieve, and maybe it should have. But yeah, this one right here, I liked it. I loved it. I thought I usually am not a fan of just this disjointed storytelling where you wake up, you're somewhere else, or you're a day ahead or a day behind. I usually hate that. But I thought it made sense here because it was coming from the point of view of the one person who's not cool as far as his personalities goes. So you were seeing it as he was seeing it, and you were seeing the surprise and terror because he's waking up, having to fight for his life, and then falling asleep again, waking back up, chained to his bed. I love the closing scene. The closing scene was probably one of the best closing scenes of any of these comic book shows so far. We're I don't know if it's spoiler alert or not. We get Moon Knight. I'll leave it to you that. And we get him in, I think, one of the coolest full-on introductions of any of these characters so far. Sure. And it left me wanting the next episode like right then and there. I'm jealous of some of the guys who got to see, blocks of these episodes all at once. So I was, I like Moon Knight. I like Oscar Isaac. I like the voice, the voice of the god. Why is his name blanking on me? I read Moon Knight on a daily, somebody in the chat. It was F. Murray Abrahams doing the voice.
Oh.
And he's guiding him along.
Yeah. Adolfo Ruafu. Yeah, that guy was awesome.
Yeah, he's like, oh no, the idiot's back.
His face. Oh
yeah, he was in
Insurrection.
Insurrection, yeah. Probably the best thing about that movie. But yeah, it was
yeah, F. Murray Abrahams was great in that movie, by the way.
Remember Amadeus when he won the Academy Award?
Amadeus. Oh, Amadeus.
Yeah. And that song wasn't even part of the movie, I thought.
We watched that in the history class, man.
The Falco video or
No,
The show.
the show or the movie.
The movie.
Yeah.
Silent Scotty says I actually really love the way they kept ripping him from reality, and I agree with him. That's cool. Yeah, the closing scene was really cool, and for them to leave it there. Best first episode, in my opinion, because I've watched all the Disney shows. Best first episode of all the Disney shows so far. WandaVision being the worst. WandaVision is my least favorite of all the Disney the Marvel shows. I did not like WandaVision. I did not like the pacing of WandaVision. I didn't like the acting performances are probably it for me. I didn't like the story. I didn't like the era going from one era to another, and I didn't like the fact that it really didn't lead up to much then. I understand now coming into Multiverse of Madness where this show's relevance is, but for me watching it at the time, I was like, I love Falcon and Winter Soldier, especially towards the end. Loki is the best overall series so far. This might end up being that way, but I've only got one episode under my belt. But Loki, with all, I think, 6 episodes of Loki, I thought Loki was the most complete and had the best dialogue. But Moon Knight looks like it's on its way to being there.
I really liked Hawkeye. That was a good show. Wow. It was solid. I had fun. That's all I ask for this stuff. Okay, I'm not going into these movies with lofty expectations anymore, because every time I do, I get severely disappointed. So it's like, no, if I just kind of go in expecting to have fun watching these shows, it'll be great. Problem with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, expected way too much out of that show. So by the time that show actually got good at the end, I was like, what? Where was this the whole damn show?
That's probably where I'm at with Hawkeye. I just didn't think, for me, I didn't have not fun with it, I guess that's my term. I just didn't care about the characters. I wasn't compelled. Now, what was a problem is with all the other shows, even with WandaVision, which I didn't like very much, I was compelled. I actually cared about what happened with her and Vision, especially when Vision's, when you realize that there were 2 Visions at the end and you had to do what you needed to do. I didn't. I couldn't root for them. I just like, ugh. And she didn't seem like, for me, she didn't seem like the kind of person that could carry a show as much as they were relying on her to. And in that last episode, pissed me off.
She was kind of propped up by Renner. He definitely did what he could to help her out in that show. But
in that musical ending, I was like, dude.
Okay, I hated the musical. There was pure cringe in that show. Okay, don't get me wrong. And it's like, if you were a Netflix Daredevil fan, I guess it kind of steps on some of some of the Kingpin stuff. Like they portrayed the Kingpin differently, which it is what it is. I mean,
Khonshu is the name of the guy. I should be ashamed of myself for not. Khonshu is literally where he derives his power from.
Well, how many Moon Knight comics do you have in your store?
They've changed the interpretation of Khonshu over the years. Thank you, the Comic Society. Depending on when you read Moon Knight, and I go back to the 80s with Moon Knight. Bill Sienkiewicz's covers of Moon Knight, and now if you follow his Bill Sienkiewicz's, he's a sketch artist, but he's a painter artist. He did Elektra. He did New Mutants, the original Mutants. He's one of my favorite artists in the whole world. He has his Instagram page, and he's starting to show some of his old cover work and some of his old interpretations
of the show.
That's awesome. Another cool thing about his website, his Instagram page, is when somebody passes away, he does either has a sketch waiting, but he does the RIP so and so to so and so, and like Betty White. I mean, he has them ready, and his artwork is so cool. So, and he's very tightly connected to Moon Knight, because he was one of the first artists to interpret characters. So, I like Moon Knight. I like Oscar Isaac. I like F. Murray Abraham's character. Matthew Modine is creepy as he was supposed to be.
Oh yeah, Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke. Oh, why do I get those two confused?
Well, Matthew Modine was in something though, wasn't he?
Matthew Modine he was in Stranger Things at the beginning of Stranger Things, at the beginning of the season.
No. I thought he was in something Marvel.
Something else comic booky.
I thought so. Like I swear, Matthew Modine, dude. We're talking that freaking movie. What was that one where he's getting jogger when he's in high school? Was it Linda Fiorentino, isn't it?
Oh wow, where's she been?
All right, Dogma. In her career.
Stranger Things, Sanctuary, Surveillance. What has he been in comic book wise? That why would I make that confusion?
Wasn't it like Agents of Shield or something like that? I'm just like, I'm
looking at his TV.
I feel like he's been in something, but probably not.
Television. So that's the last thing he's working on. Idiot Sitter, Stranger Things, Proof, Anatomy of Violence, Cat 8, Too Big to Fail, Sex Lies in Sin City, Weeds. I remember him in that. Into the West. I don't know why the hell I just got those two confused. Well,
it's all good.
But yeah, so he was creepy, and the whole tattoo thing, was and the scarab. I want to know what's. I know what's behind the scarab, but I can't wait to see their take.
Like I said, I'm just gonna let this show take me for a ride, man.
Yeah.
This
How many
looks like
episodes
it's gonna be fun. Do you want 6 or something like that?
Hey, I got a problem with this. Knock this shit off. I need more.
We have to have the here. Hold on. IMDb Moon Knight. Oh, look at that. Must have been listening to me. Thanks, Google. Let's see here. IMDb miniseries. 6 episodes. Oh my God, that's not that much. All right.
Hey, Damien, nice to have you here, man. I got a problem with that because sometimes they don't necessarily write the story that way. They're writing a story and then it's broken up that way. By the time my roller coaster is at the top, I'm already at episode 4 and I only got 2 more. No. All right. I want Congress to pass a law, 14 episodes minimum. That's for everything. That's for Game of Thrones. That's for these shows. That's for Star Trek. Star Trek, at least I get 12 to 14 episodes. I know we can't go back to having the 26 episodes a year, which I think sucks. But I need more than 6. What the hell, man? You get me hooked on your crack, and then you take the crack, you take all my rocks away.
That's what they do, man. That's what they do.
And it always happens with the shows I like.
And then they laugh at you and call you a junkie.
Yes, because I want more. Oh, you need to move on. Like, no, I want more. You gave me some good stuff. I want more. They're getting better at this, having more shows link up with them. So, like with Star Trek. I almost said Star Wars. I'm like, with the same thing with them though.
Yeah, they're doing the same thing.
Is once I'm done with this show. So once I was done with Discovery, I had Picard. Once I had Picard, I had Strange New Worlds.
True.
Now I need a little bit more because I want to be able to get at least through 8 months, I guess, of storytelling.
Don't worry about that. We have the last 6 episodes of Prodigy coming out in June. I think
you brought that up, but no, I'm just kidding.
Prodigy's actually a cute show. It's not bad, honestly. If
I watched
younger fans that would be interested. I kind of like it. So far, it really hasn't made me mad.
Yeah, Lower Decks.
Lower Decks is coming out July, I think. So we've got Star Trek plan up, and then as soon as that's over, we start it all over again because Discovery comes out. So and then, we're talking year-round Star Trek here, guy. Yeah, even if it's a short-run series. So
as long as I can jump from one to another. That was the biggest problem when these streaming services first set out. They would make these great kick-ass series, and then it'll be another year before you had anything. Just like with The Mandalorian. They came out of the chute on fire with Mandalorian, and then it took forever to get these things lined up. So
COVID had a lot to do with that.
COVID had a lot to do with it, and then the justification of it. So I hope we get to a place where we're just like we have like a small holiday in between.
Full steam ahead, man. Like I'm good. Let's go. Warp 9, baby. Engage.
Oh yeah, they jump right into the first episode. Also today, we might be the same guy spread across thousands of miles.
My issue with WandaVision, and this is why I got my whole expectations thing. Okay, bro, when WandaVision came out, everybody was expecting this show to be like lightning in a bottle, liquid crack. Like this was going to be the best of the best of the best. Okay, and we were going to get everybody. We were going to get Mephisto. We were going to get this sweet ass cameo that Paul Bettany kept teasing, and then we were going to get mutants. Oh, remember we were going to get all this cool shit, and we got nothing.
We got a dick joke. We got a dick joke instead of an actual mutant.
We got a fake Vision. Thank you.
Okay. The
Thank
Vision,
you, Paul Bettany.
I liked what they did with the Vision because it was once that version realized he wasn't real, he sacrifices himself to basically make things, to save them. when he merges. I like that. That was cool because we still need to find out where Vision is. Let's see, William. Did you like? Yes, I did. I liked all the Netflix series. You know, the Defender. Some of the stuff waned off for me a little bit, but when it came to Daredevil and the Punisher, I loved those series, and I know that Disney has the right to do them again. I don't know if they're going to want to touch the edginess. The fight scene in the hallway, I think, was Daredevil. Just certain things that they did them on very low budgets, and you didn't have to. What they did in that Daredevil series was the same thing Frank Miller did in Daredevil when his run started on 158 and went all the way up, off and on until 232, I think. He made Hell's Kitchen a character in the story, much like Matt Reeves made Gotham a character in the Batman. And prior to 1980, they were not doing that. Hell's Kitchen was just a slightly worse part of New York. And when Daredevil, when Frank Miller took over, and when I watch the Daredevil TV show, I see a lot of lineage. I see Frank Miller all over that. I see Frank Miller's version of the Punisher in there, and I definitely see Frank Miller's version of Matt Murdock there. So I love the way that that show made that city and his environment as much part of it as any of the supporting characters. I hope it continues in a way. I hope if Marvel, if Disney does pick it up again, I hope they do it in a way that is true to what has gone before, or just go with something completely different. Yeah. You know, because otherwise you take away the edge that the Netflix characters had. I think you take away the character. So yeah, I have fingers crossed. All right, so who is 12? All right, 12 episodes. All right, 12 episode minimum. Yeah. Minimum. Everybody's gonna have the same issue with Kenobi.
I didn't want to see this anyways.
Well, same here, and Enosh is probably somewhere turning in his waterbed right now because I've already gone ad nauseum of why.
Give me a comic book or a book, okay? I don't need to see a freaking TV show about Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm glad Ewan McGregor's coming back, but come on.
Yeah. So there's the big wrestling elephant in the room this weekend. I'm trying, man. I'm trying to get excited.
I haven't watched a WrestleMania since the one in San Francisco.
That was what, 2014?
15, 14, something like that. It was 2015.
Yeah, 2015, because New York was when it was. All right, well, let's get into it. There are some matches on here. Let's bring up the card here. This is not the whole card, but I was too lazy to get everything on here. These are the matches that really matter to me, and for the most part. All right, so I'm going to run down the card in text because I do have it here. First of all, WrestleMania, this does not need to be a two-night event. Know this is a two-night event. It's been a two-night event. This is going to be another two-night event. Day one on Saturday, day two on Sunday. When Wrestle Kingdom with New Japan does this, it's a different situation. And the reason why it works with New Japan is because they use their matches to tell a story in a different way over a different length of time than WrestleMania does. Wrestle Kingdom
smart booking. That's all this is, man.
Well, it's trying to copy a trend. With Wrestle Kingdom, you have the G1 Climax that happens in October. All right, whoever wins the G1 Climax it's like a Royal Rumble. That person gets a title shot. He's guaranteed a title shot at Wrestle Kingdom night one, and whoever wins that title shot goes on and defends the title 24 hours later on night two. So you have the same guy, mainly going over, and plus they have a lot of other matches, and their matches are long. You might see a New Japan match last a full hour on, and the way they tell their stories with their match, you're engaged in it. American wrestling is a little bit different. A lot of it, the storytelling, instead of it being told in the ring, a lot of the times is being told by the angles, which is fine. That's how we've been doing it. But you can't sustain that. There are 14 matches on this card. And I remember back in the day where WrestleMania was good with just 8. And it's just there's too many matches on there. So, all right. So night one, Saturday, April 2nd, we have Becky Lynch defending the title against Bianca Belair. I was looking forward to that match, but Becky Lynch for me has fallen off as far as effectiveness for me, as far as she's getting me going. When she had both titles at one time and she was the best women's wrestler in the world, I really loved and enjoyed watching her matches. She's worn off on me though. I'm not really looking big to the man. Bianca Blair, especially she's held the title since she beat Bianca Blair at the SummerSlam that was here in Vegas. After Bianca Blair only had the title for a little bit, and I thought they could have had a lot of mileage in that run. And then Becky Lynch wins it when they her first day back from maternity leave. She wins the title, and I think it really hurt Becky Lynch and how people felt about her, and I thought that it hurts that women's division. All right, Rey Mysterio and who do you think's going to win that match, Brian?
I don't know. I like I said, I haven't really watched like the current product in quite a while.
Yeah, I DVRs, my friend. Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio, father and son versus the Miz, and yes, Logan Paul.
Oh,
this is probably going to be a better match than it has any business being.
I'm sure,
but it's probably going to be that match where I go get something to eat.
Yeah, there you go. Concession time. Hey,
yeah.
Speaking of which, dinner's about ready. I got to dip out.
All right.
It's been fun. Come by on Monday. We're doing a first contact watch party.
What time? Let everybody know where they can find you.
I'll be on here, Poindexter Lounge at 5:00. Once we figure out like how we're gonna present it. I was thinking about maybe like doing the like Enosh normally does, where he'll play the movie on Twitch and stuff, but he'll have the YouTube, link open, so you can
I see what you mean. Or you can
like he did with the Star Wars movies.
Yeah, you can always do it on Twitch. Twitch seems to be a lot more liberal than
that's true. That's true.
So, all right, I will try to make it there, and I will. I'm bound to see you somewhere.
Of course, man.
Our circles are way too tight. All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
Have a good night, guys.
All right. So let's go back to this WrestleMania card. So Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin with Madcap singles match. Not a WrestleMania match. The Usos, Jay and Jimmy versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs. Tag team match for SmackDown titles, potentially. The Usos are always great. Nakamura is always great. I don't see the Usos losing this match, but it all depends on where they're going with the tribal, head of the table. The New Day, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland with Butch. Tag team match. Once again, with 14 matches, this is a little bit more of a filler match than anything else. Oh, looks like I have an intruder. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, I just thought I'd come and crash your party for the first time. I haven't been on your show yet because you've been doing okay by yourself. So I just thought
the screen. I think I'm live right now. I think people are seeing me, so I'm not talking to myself like the
nope,
first.
You're live. You're live. I checked you out before I came in.
Cool. Just going over these WrestleMania matches and why some of them just don't need to be there. But let's see. The Usos, New Day, like I said, some of these matches are not. They're going to be really good Raw matches, but this is the biggest pay-per-view of the year. All right, now here's one match that I am intrigued about: Seth freaking Rollins versus opponent to be announced. A lot of people are expecting it to be Cody Rhodes.
Yeah,
that would make sense. But if it's not Cody Rhodes, it's going to be a letdown because there's not too many other people that I think anybody's going to even care about at this point for it. So they kind of have to deliver. If it's Cody Rhodes, I think that'll be a wow moment. That'll say that. If not, then I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed if it's like Hornswoggle or something or Shane McMahon. And they put Shane McMahon in the WrestleMania match, so that's not beyond the pale. Match 7 for that night is Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey. There was a time where
Can I just say something real quick about that. So that last match, it'll be interesting if Cody Rhodes makes that jump. I've been doing some. I've watched some videos on it, and I've been doing some reading up on it and everything. Gosh, man, the more I look at it, the more I think that Vince is just trying to hype that up to get people who maybe wouldn't have watched WrestleMania this year to actually just go ahead and watch WrestleMania, in hopes that like that's Cody Rhodes, to hopes that they're going to see that, but like then do that bait and switch, you know what I mean? Just basically to get people to watch. And I, like you said, I don't know who that person is if it's not Cody Rhodes. then there's going to be a lot of disappointment. There's a lot of people that think that people like at AEW are just, playing kayfabe, and trying to just, keep quiet about, that he's not going back to WWE. There's some people who are really disappointed if he does go to WWE. There's a lot of emotion behind that match, dude.
Especially with Ring of Honor being in play now, because there's always a place for a lot of people who may not, they can go to Ring of Honor and dominate. And I was before this came on, I was watching Supercard of Honor, so he may have even popped up there, and I haven't been paying attention because I know I was watching a match there. So I hope it's somebody worth it, because that's going to make Saturday night for me. And then we have Charlotte Flair, champion, versus Ronda Rousey. This match might have been good 3 years ago, but now I've watched Ronda Rousey in the ring. She looks very rusty. Charlotte Flair is still going to be Charlotte Flair. She'll carry the match, but I just didn't care about this match like I did when they main evented WrestleMania a few years back, when they were all at the height. I had a lot of fun with that match, and they really proved that women could highlight a main event at pay-per-view, because they did it. And they
Do you like Charlotte Flair?
Yeah, I think she's a tremendous athlete. I think she's done well, given the fact that she has that name, and I think that name is a lot to look up to. And she's a woman that is in an atmosphere that most women don't get to. Most women, there's only been a handful of women that main event a pay-per-view, and they're all on this card: Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair. Headlining a pay-per-view is big, even if it's a watered-down pay-per-view. Headlining a pay-per-view is still big. Headlining a major show like Raw is big. And she's headlined. She's been at the top. And like I said, she's a tremendous athlete that actually makes me care about whether she wins, loses, and the quality of her matches. That's hard to do in the women's game today. A lot of them rely on things other than the overall wrestling game. There's only maybe 6 or 7 of them that really can do that. And Charlotte Flair's probably at the top of that. So, yeah, I'd have to say I like her.
I just don't like her.
She's not a likable character, and maybe that's because she's not trying to be.
Maybe I just don't like her. There's something about her that, like, just looking at her, just I don't know.
She's not. She just doesn't have that type of appeal. I understand. I can't put my finger on it, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right. WrestleMania night.
I mean, there's heels that I love. There's heels that, there's those heels that, like, even though they're a heel, even though they're not supposed to be a likable person, you still like them. For what they are. Especially you got older. When you were a kid, you were like, oh, I hate these people with a passion. When you got older, it's like you learn to appreciate the heel.
Yeah, you appreciated Bobby Heenan later in life.
Exactly.
You wanted to see him get the hell beat out of him when he was
exactly. Exactly. And so, like, I don't know. It's not even a heel thing for me with her. It's just like
likability. Might be a likability issue.
Yeah.
All right, night 2. Why are we doing a night 2? Queen Zelina, Carmella, Sasha Banks, Naomi versus Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, and Natalya, and Shayna Baszler for the women's tag team title. I think all these women in their own individual rights are talented individuals. I think this is a horrible matchup. I hate when they don't have enough faith in any given person or tag team that they put them in these 4 or 5 10-way matches. When you do that, that's basically saying that you don't have enough faith in 2 competitors to put on a show on their own. And I think they're making a mistake with these characters, because I think that each of these characters could do it. Sasha Banks has been around forever. Queen Zelina is a little bit on the weak side, and so is Liv Morgan. But there's enough strength on that matchup to carry that. So I really wish they hadn't cluttered this match. All right, Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn. Here's going to be my bathroom break. I'm not a big fan of the whole Jackass thing, but I understand people are. Yeah. Sami Zayn's a mid-card wrestler at best. So you're basically taking a non-wrestler and tying in his move and everything and putting in. You know what? The match, like these celebrity matches can be, is going to be better than it has any business doing, but it's not something that should be on WrestleMania.
Is Johnny Knoxville even healthy enough to wrestle? Like,
not really.
Didn't he have like a colostomy bag?
Yeah. So they're gonna play it easy. You'll see that in the matches. You'll probably see that. Sami Zayn, they've rehearsed this match to the point where Sami Zayn will not.
Yeah, just like, oh my gosh, like that.
They'll eliminate. But yeah, he's messed up, man. All right, here's one that I find intriguing. One not enough so far. RK Bro, Randy Orton, Steve Riddle versus the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy. Once again, another three-way tag team, another title match with an extra team. I hate this. RK, I like the Orton Riddle team up. I know he's going to turn on them. It's easy to see. I like the Street Profits. I don't like the Academy. I don't think the Academy belong in this match, regardless of the fact that they had won the titles. That was just passing around of the titles at this point. They don't need to be there. This match doesn't even need to be a WrestleMania match unless you're just going to have one-on-one. All right, match number 5 on night 2 is probably has the potential to be the best match of the entire pay-per-view. AJ Styles versus Edge. I wish this match would have happened back in 2015. They've had Edge forever. I understand Edge might have been neck approved to be able to do it, but unfortunately, for whatever reasons, legitimate reasons, this match is 5-6 years too late. AJ Styles is still a power, but look at where he's at. He's on the middle of the card here. I always consider AJ Styles, even at 44 years old, as a top of the card guy. And ever since he's been in his first major run in WWE, where he held the title for nearly a year, he just hasn't been there. And I think it's a damn shame with all these other wrestling federations coming up to the surface with a different Ring of Honor, with a AEW, with New Japan, having a TV contract. I thought that AJ Styles could have found his way in there. But he decided to re-sign with WWE, and now he's at the middle of the card. Great. Bobby Lashley versus.
I got to run.
All right,
I just want to stop in and give you a little. All
right,
I just want to give you a hard time a little bit and say hi. But and hey, shout out to Dravwalker in the chat. I saw Dravwalker's here. Haven't seen Luke in a while. Good to see you, bro.
In there?
Yeah, Luke's in there. I saw him. There he is. He said, yo, what's up? What's up, Luke? Good to see you, my brother. Good to see you in here. Good to see you all in here supporting this guy right here. All right, man. Hey, take it easy. Have a great rest of your show. All right, we'll talk to you later.
I'll see you in a few.
All right, man. Bye-bye.
All right, so where were we with Bobby Lashley versus Omos? This has all the makings of an impressive match, but it's just it just got set up too quick. It only got set up a couple of weeks ago. So once again, generally with WWE, with WrestleMania, old way they used to do it is that they would spend months and months and months setting up a WrestleMania match. This match had 2 weeks to set up. And then the main event of the main events, Brock Lesnar, WWE Champion versus Roman Reigns, Universal Champion. This is the third time that these two have main evented WrestleMania, so it kind of takes the luster off of it for me. I don't know if they can match the two previous matches. The only thing that's saving it for me is that it is a title for title. Once again, they're unifying these two titles again. This will be the third time that they've done that with the two brands. So I'm assuming that at some point during these 2 days, there's going to be a massive run-in that kind of distracts me from what this pay-per-view is. I just have a problem with it. I grew up with WrestleMania. I watched the very first WrestleMania. I watched pretty much every WrestleMania up to the point where I used to pay huge money. It used to cost $69 to get WrestleMania on the Sunday, and I had to, mow lawns and coax my old man to let me do it. When I finally got my own job, my own money, I scraped it together. And the problem in the last 20 some odd years is that each WrestleMania that they've done has become less and less special, even though they added more matches. There's 14 matches on this card. 7 of them could go away, and it wouldn't hurt the pay-per-view. An entire day of this pay-per-view could go away, and it would be just better just by the addition of subtraction. So it has gone from being something I grew up on that first Sunday in April or that last Sunday in March at being something I spent my whole year as a kid looking forward to. It's just another pay-per-view right now. Might be a solid pay-per-view, but if the thing about these current pay-per-views, they're either really, really good or they're just basically like another version of Raw, a really good episode of Raw. Now, keep in mind, though, we're not paying that kind of money that we were paying for in the 90s and the 2000s. I have Peacock Premium, so it's all included. So if it does suck, it's not like I spent a lot of money. It's just you've invested your time. I just wish with all this talent that there was just a little bit more compelling me. I'll watch it, but it's because I'm a wrestling geek and I'm an addict. So there you go. As far as WrestleMania goes, that's all the matches so far. I don't know who's going to run in. I'm guessing at this point it's going to have to be Cody Rhodes getting in there because just the sheer fact that if it's not him, who is it going to be? So that's my whole deal for this April 1st. April Fool's Day, appropriately named because there's a lot of fools out in the world right now. But I'm going to take this last 5 minutes to see what you guys – anybody got any questions for me? I really never get a chance to get with the chat room as much as I think I should. I need a producer. All right, so if it's not Cody because everybody's expecting it, and it kind of leaks. So Vince of WWE is going to going somebody else, maybe Bray Wyatt or Shane McMahon. Yeah, I mean, I love Bray Wyatt, and Shane McMahon is a much better wrestler than he has any business being. But I think people are going to really torch Vince if it's either one of those two. So who else? All right, can someone please sell wrestling to me? I don't get it. You know. All right. Listen, just like anything else we talk about on this channel, whether it be comic books, movies, and sometimes video games, it's a story. It's like Shakespeare. It's like a play. It's being told in the form of oratory as they lead up in the match and their angles, the acting of the angles, and then the climax, which is a physical confrontation. It's a match. So if the best way to sell anybody who's not currently in the wrestling right now is even thinking about giving it a minute, think of an opera that includes really strong people tossing themselves around. It has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end. Just like anything else we discuss here on either the Poindexter Lounge or Sci-Fi Center Presents or Sci-Fi Center Live, it is a story that's being told. And where the value in it is, and whether you can tell whether it's something really good and really bad, is how you feel while you're watching that story. Are you compelled by the actors, which are the wrestlers? Are you compelled by the characters in the story? Are you compelled by their journey? Are you compelled by the climax, how it ends? And that's how you know that the wrestling company has done a good job or not. So that's how I would sell wrestling to you, or anyone else for that matter. Okay, so all right. Yeah, it comes with my $5 Peacock. There's another tier that you can go up with, and it's $9 with commercial free. But there's certain I like having commercials because I'm usually doing a lot of different things while I'm watching something. So commercials give me time to finish a website or finish a thumbnail or finish something that email that I got to do. So I have the $5 tier, and if I'm not correct, I think I watched it last year on my $5 tier. If it were more, I'd pay the other $4 for it if that was the case. I don't think so because, like I said, I was paying $9.95 a month on the WWE network and getting all the pay-per-views there. So, like I said, the only thing that softens the blow of these pay-per-views not being up to snuff for me from whatever company is the fact that I'm not paying top-tier dollar for them. If I paid $69 and got some of the WrestleManias I've gotten in the last 5 years, I might not ever give it a chance again. So, thank goodness for that. ACS Universe, what's up, man? It's the first time I think you've been on the show either as a guest or not a guest, but even as a chat room participant. I love what you do over there. I watch your show, fellow Army veteran with Anthony here, fellow combat vet as well. I should get you on here one of these days, man. He hosts the Four Nerds. He's got a couple other things, ACS Universe. Check out his site when you get a chance. He's one of a handful of people that I have on my little bell. That when they come up with stuff, their bell rings and I watch their stuff. Try to watch it live if we're not doing our own thing. So yeah, Anthony's pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, I just don't know if it's WrestleMania level. That's my only thing. There's good matches and then there's WrestleMania. But then, like I said, I could enjoy it. I'm going to watch every second of this, except for certain matches where I got to go to the bathroom. But all right, so Peacock Premium. Yeah, Peacock Premium is the way to go. Yeah, man. Yeah, like I said, I think I ambushed you guys' stream one time when Zebrafed or somebody, either Dawson was on there. I found my way in and we were talking about. I forgot what we were talking about, but it had to be something about BVS, Batman, or the Snyderverse, which is generally when I find my way around there. But yeah, we need to. I need to get you on here, man. One of these Sci-Fi Center Presents where we dive into some of these really deeper shows. I think you guys would be perfect for that. All right, so who else have we got here? Yeah, very mid card. Like the whole thing, there's like a huge mid card on this entire pay per view. Usually, WrestleMania eliminated the mid card. I remember one WrestleMania card years and years ago was so packed that the World Tag Team titles opened up the pay-per-view, and not because they spread them with filler, is because each match on that pay-per-view was high-end intercontinental match. Remember when WrestleMania, when the intercontinental match used to be one of the signature matches of the year? I mean, some of the best intercontinental matches had come from WrestleMania. Shawn Michaels had some great matches. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Macho Man Savage probably has one of the top 5 matches of all time. The intercontinental match was what used to be the next step. It used to be where they tested you out to be, world championship material. If you look at it, a lot of the guys who ended up holding the title in that era, whether it be Ultimate Warrior, Shawn Michaels, that was the testing ground to see how people responded to these guys as title holders. And then if they performed well, they usually went on to win the world title, as is the case with Heartbreak Kid and Macho Man. So now it's just a piece of metal. And I know people say the titles don't mean much. I think they mean stuff. The entire story of wrestling is structured around the guy on top, getting to the guy on top, getting to that brass ring and beating hell out of each other while they're doing it. That is the theater of wrestling. So when you make the titles not mean anything, I think you hurt the product. And that's not just with WWE. That's with any federation. Your title matches should be treated like a boxing heavyweight title treats their world champion. Even if you don't like the way boxing is governed, the heavyweight champion is still a heavyweight champion. It's been that way for decades. So I hope this is a better pay-per-view than it looks like on paper. And if it's so, like I said, it would be a pleasant surprise, because there's a lot of wrestling going on. Ring of Honor has Supercard of Honor that's probably wrapping up right now. So I don't know. I was watching that before I started. Impact has their Multiverse of Madness, or Multiverse of Cards, that's happening tonight. And then you have you have the Hall of Fame tonight, induction tonight, and then you have 2 nights of WrestleMania. So it's a pretty big weekend for WrestleMania. So I'm really hoping, like I said, it outperforms. As far as I know, he does not. I thought he endured some injuries that made it a lot harder for him to wrestle. I actually think he's retired. But then again, I thought Edge was retired after coming out and surrendering the title on Raw, because the doctor said if he wrestles again, he'd be paralyzed. I thought Daniel Bryant was done when he was getting so many concussions. I thought his brain was going to turn into soup, but he's around. So when wrestlers tell me they retired, it's kind of like, yeah, who knows? So as far as I know, Booker T is retired, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him back in the ring again. All right, guys, I think that is going to be it for the show. Thank you for everybody for watching this live. Thank you to everybody who will watch this in the rebroadcast. Thanks for everybody who gave super chats together. Thanks for everybody who gave questions and broadened the horizons of the show. And we have the next time you will see me is this coming Monday at 11 a.m. my time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And me, Dawson, and Silent Scotty are really going to get in between the pages of Watchmen. And if you liked the first one we did with the Dark Knight, the importance of the Dark Knight, I really think you're going to enjoy the influence of Watchmen, because we're going to leave no stone unturned. So pack a lunch, because it's going to be a long one. All right, that's it for me. Thank you, everybody, and happy Friday.